What's up, Attack MMA? I'm your host, Zach White, and today I got a very special guest. He's a professional fighter with a 6-1-1 record, and he fight for a CFFC, trying to gain that flyweight championship at CFFC 122. Please welcome Shamel Findley. Shamel, how are you doing today?
Great, man. It's another day living. Cannot complain.
Awesome, man. And a lot of people probably don't know you, so kind of give them a background of how and when did you originally get into MMA?
I got into MMA. I can't remember the year ever off like by heart anymore, but I got into MMA maybe like 5, 6 years ago. I was I came from high school wrestling. I uh I went to college for a while. I saw one of my old high school wrestling captain. I saw him go take a fight. It was in the city. I was in college out in Atlanta. I went to Georgia State University. This fight was out in the city, so it was like right around the corner. I went and saw him fight, and I remember looking down there into the cage and watching him do what he was doing, and I was just like, you know what, that looks easy and it looks fun. I just happened to say it out loud with enough of my friends right next to me, and it was like, "Well, do it then." And I was like, "All right." And since then, yeah.
Yeah. And like you have been doing it a while, so when was like when you first realized like, hey, I can be a pro at this and do it at the elite level?
Honestly, man, anything that I've ever done in life, I have, as long as I really decide it's something that I want to do, I never limit myself to thinking like that I'm gonna be just average at it. So yeah, it was like pretty early on in the beginning. I started training with a buddy of mine. He's a brother to me, and we came from the same wrestling team. We went to the same college, and we used to have them. What is that room called? There was a room in the rec center that had mats and like dummies and stuff. I think the school used to have maybe a club using it, a wrestling club or something to that effect. And we used to go in there and just like copy what we would see the guys doing in fights, and we were like training ourselves. And I just remember when we first started, I remember telling him like, "Yeah, man, we could go to the UFC, you and me, like let's do it." And I'm like, "You really want to do it?" It's like he's like, "Yeah, man, I wouldn't be in here with you if I didn't want to, or if that wasn't the plan or whatever." He is now a very successful tattoo artist,
Nice.
and I'm still going. So that's how that ended up playing out. Crazy thing is, I actually started tattooing before him, and he started training more seriously before me. I can't really remember when or how we switched, but yeah, out here.
Interesting how life works, man. And who are some of like the fighters that you looked up to when you're first getting into it?
Um, Looked up to. I can't really say I've ever looked up to anyone really ever in my life, but I can remember like one of my earliest memories of the UFC was is Max Holloway. It was like a Max Holloway fight. I went over to a friend's house, and his dad is a very elite, or very like he's a fan. He's a fan of
Yeah.
MMA as a whole, not just the UFC. And so he's been into it for years, and he had it on one time, and I just remember seeing Max Holloway fight. I can't even remember who he was fighting. I just remember looking at it and thinking like, "Oh man, that's tough." And then another early memory I have is of John Jones when he chokes out Machida against the cage.
Yeah.
I can remember that very like that those are the two earliest memories of MMA that I have. And yeah, yeah, I'm kind of going back to what you when you asked like when did I know it would be a career choice or a path for me. I did feel it like kind of instantly when I started doing it, but probably what helped that was that I did come into it around the like beginning of
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, his era, and like so there was some like when I saw how he what he was doing, and like the the audience's like the public's reaction to him, I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want. So.
Yeah, definitely opened a lot of eyes. And you do have the nickname the Badman. So how that all come about?
Oh yeah, well, so Badman is just so the way it's actually pronounced. I get a lot of people like calling me the bad man or saying like he's a bad man and da da da, which is cool. But Badman is really a term Jamaicans use, and I
Yeah,
mean more multiple Caribbeans, but Jamaicans use. Badman is just like it's a term to describe somebody that's like not afraid of anybody, doesn't take disrespect kindly. You know, somebody just can't walk over or push around, or is willing to do the things that everybody isn't willing to do. So it's like how it came to me. I don't really know. I just know when I got into this, I knew that I wanted to represent Jamaica, and yeah, I guess that was just like the first thing that popped into my mind. Like that's what I need to be. That's who I need to be out there. So yeah, I just stuck with it.
definitely, man. And again, for anyone that doesn't know you, how would you describe yourself and how would you describe your fighting style?
How would I describe myself? I would just say I'm pretty chill. I'm pretty mellow, I guess. And I feel like um I have a high level of maybe like discernment, so I understand like the people around me and what they bring into my life, and like I know like who I need in my life and who I don't, shit like that. And then yeah, I just kind of me describing myself. I think the easiest way to say it is like I understand like, and if you get that, then you get that. And then like as a fighter, what you can expect to me or to see when watching me fight is it's I've kind of been like working on like like who am I out there? And like I just said, I think like what I need to be, who I need to be when I'm out there is Badman. So it's like I almost, before I didn't understand that it is kind of like an alter ego or an ego or me leaning into my ego when I'm out there. So yeah, I think people can expect to see obviously violence, but more so like the composure that I keep in everyday life is still on display, and then it's just like me showing that just because I'm calm doesn't mean I'm not dangerous. And, yeah, so yeah, I feel like people see that in my fights. They see like they're watching a fight, looks very technical. You might not know like the in and outs of what's going on, and then wham, like like damn, he was in danger that whole time, and I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure, man. And now let's talk about the fight. As you'll be fighting Dorjiev, hopefully I pronounced that right. But
Mm.
what do you know about your opponent if you know anything at all? And what do you think about him and his fighting style and strengths?
Um, I think he's a talented fighter. I want to say he's maybe I want to say he's like around 29, 30, somewhere in there. So he's 7-0 now. I'm not sure when he started fighting or whatever, but like for us to be around like the same fights, it kind of tells me like, okay, maybe he got into this a little later, or he's hitting his stride at a later point in his life than I am. You know what I'm saying? So, um, that's also something that I look into or I take into account into the fight. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like as I see him now, it's he's gone out there, he's undefeated. So things have been going well for him, but I do see a lot of decision wins on his record. And the old me would have taken that as like, oh, he's not that dangerous, or oh, and I kind of still feel the same way, but I've tweaked my mind to like, but what he does well is he doesn't make many mistakes, right? If you keep going to decisions and then you're winning them unanimously, you know how to win fights. You know how to win rounds under the unique rule sets the rules that we have to go out there by. He knows how to win rounds, and that's always something to respect and take into consideration. So yeah, that's what I think about him. I know he's got a decent like grappling background. He's I believe he is Mongolian. I know
Yeah.
he's Russian. I believe he's Mongolian, and I know he has maybe like some pancration experience, some sambo. So I do expect him to have decent grappling and decent cardio and decent decision making. But you know, I am just excited to go out there and prove like what level I'm on and that I'm a complete fighter. And yeah, so I'm happy to have gotten this fight. I'm happy that it's against an undefeated guy. That's always exciting. Um, because I beat him, then I'm 7-1-1. He's 7-1. It doesn't stop anything for him. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. I never want to like shut down any of these guys' dreams or their hopes or their aspirations because they want to do the same thing as me. It's so, but it's the way this game is. You know what I'm saying? You got to take a step up off of somebody's back. So
Yeah, definitely. That's a great way to look at it. And just looking at the fight stylistically, how do you see it panning out in your favor?
my favorite, stylistically, I don't know. Like this is how I feel. Like in my opinion, I've fought guys like him. He's. I think that there's a. I think that there's a discrepancy maybe in our experience levels. Even though yes, he's 7-0, I'm 6-1-1, so I already have more professional fights than him. But I've also had a whole amateur career. I know in some other countries, like so they don't have amateurs most time. Then if he does, he has like minimal amateur experience, but then he has all the grappling behind him too that I have no uh, knowledge of. But then so do I. Like a lot of people don't know because you watch my fights and I'm like pressuring these guys and I'm throwing punches and kicks, knees, elbows, da da da. But yeah, I do come from wrestling. I have hundreds, maybe thousands of matches under my belt as well. So yeah, the way I feel like the fight is gonna play out, I think it'll be the first time. Like I said, it's always exciting to fight these undefeated guys because unlike everybody else where you can like find tape or something of them losing and you
Mhm.
can kind of like take that formula, like, okay, that's the chink in their armor. It's always exciting like to go out there and kind of like you gotta freestyle it. You gotta see like, yeah, you fought everybody else and yeah, you have had success, but you have not fought me, and that's a real thing. So stylistically, where I see him like pressuring everyone else or walking them down or coming forward, it's like I know with my style and just my mentality, it's gonna be um something new to see. Like, well, what does he do when he's going backwards? Because I'm not so it'll be fun.
For sure, man. And of course, it's not just a normal fight, it is a title fight. So you will be fighting for world championships. So how much would that mean for you to become the CFFC world champion?
Ah man, I think it'll be a big compliment for me to myself just because like it's taken me so long even doing some of these interviews and saying what I'm saying like this isn't coming from a place of like bragging or boasting. It's more so of like it's taken me a long time to get to this level of confidence in myself and what I could possibly be and stop like dimming my own light and kind of like it's easier to be afraid of the things that people think it's the things that we know that we're scared of, but that's never it. Like losing and not amounting to this or da da da. People think that's what they're scared of, but like more people are actually way more terrified of like being great and doing new things and traveling and experiencing this and that. Like that terrifies them. They've never, nobody wants that type of change or
Yeah.
wants things that new. So like that's what it is for me. Winning this would be just like a whole new very like scary but exciting scary experience. Like, okay, like I have this now, and it quote unquote validates me, or like what I'm doing. I can officially say like, it's a like I'm him moment. Like, yeah, I earned this, and it really was out of blood, sweat, and tears, and everybody can't do this. So it's I'm just excited to see like what happens next to my reality after I grab it. So
Yeah, I never thought of it like that. That's a great way to look at it. And this is your third time fighting at the promotion, so how have you enjoyed your time at Cage Fury?
Cage Fury, Cage Fury has never treated me wrong. Like they I feel with Cage Fury, I think it's like anything in life. Um, as long as some people say like you have to earn respect or you have to earn trust. I think like, and in most cases that's how it is. I would say that's like how it is with Cage Fury. Whereas like I'm someone who feels like nah, I like give it out, and then it's your like what you do after that would like determine whether I still respect you or I still trust you. And I feel like that's where I am with Cage Fury. Like I've never asked for anything I wasn't owed, or and they've never given me anything that I did not like work for or deserve or whatever, but they also have never like not shown respect or not given me certain things just when I was coming to the door. So my relationship with Cage Fury is great. And it's just a nice little partnership. I've just fight for them. I promote fights, and I go out there and I go do what I need to do to put some money in my pocket and some food in my mouth, and they in kind they you know reward me for it.
That's great, man. And yeah, you had two fights there, but you also had four other fights last year. You had six fights in the span of only 10 months. So that's pretty crazy. You don't see a lot of other people do that. So how's that like for you to be that active? And was there any other challenges that came along the way as you were so active?
Where their challenges? Oh my gosh, man! But so I come from wrestling though, so it really
Yeah,
wasn't that big of a deal to me. So what's cool is I have a great support system. I have a village. I have family and friends that have been like obviously family that's been forever, but like 10-year plus friends, and we're all pretty locked in. They're family really. And so what was normal to me or normal to us, we ha- we had to find out together that that might be something worth like mentioning or something of note to like other people. So to me, like fighting 6 times wasn't a big thing. I didn't know like until I started hearing people say like, "Oh, that's active," or "Oh, that's," and I'm like, "Well, I came from wrestling where we were wrestling every weekend and or 2 times a week mostly, really like Wednesdays and the whole weekend, or tournaments were 2 days. Like you're wrestling if you're one of the good guys and you're going straight to the championship. You're wrestling 4 times the day. So yeah, it was nothing crazy or new or big to me. I did have to. I was fighting a lot of the time with injuries, but like who's not? We're
yeah.
all like banged up and going out there with little nicks and knacks. But yeah, just to see the kind of response that I got from people for it, it's like the people around me and myself, we know what I'm capable of, but it's always still so cool to kind of like introduce myself to everyone else and do things that I consider to be like regular or normal and get the like reaction of like, nah, man, that's something. I'm like, all right, cool.
Definitely something special. And we're not that six this year, but how many more fights are you looking to have this year?
Um, I wanted to have 10 professional fights before getting to the UFC, but where I will be after this one will be 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you grow, you change, you learn. I've been here at a American Top Team in Coconut Creek, and before my whole thing about having 10 fights was the same kind of mindset I had as an amateur. I thought like in 10 fights, I'd have a good, I would know myself well enough against in so many different scenarios and against so many different opponents that I felt like the next step up couldn't really like surprise me. And I thought I needed 10 fights for that at both levels. But as I am now, and I'm in this gym with so many talented and high level athletes and high level fighters, I could honestly see myself like after this fight going straight to uh, a bigger promotion. And yeah, and maybe I debut in a bigger promotion this year, and that'll put me right at 10. So it's not far off from like what I manifested or what I set out as my goal. Maybe I just go in one earlier because that's just how life worked out, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, the goal is to go to the UFC or a major promotion. But do you think that you need an impressive performance or a big performance or just a win in general could grant you a shot at one of these top promotions?
Um, I am always looking for a big performance or like a big finish, a big like that's something I want out of myself. Like just like I said, it's like it's what we expect, myself and my people is what we expect. And then like however everyone else reacts to it is always it's great. But like it's what we expect. So of course, yeah, I want a big finish. I don't try to win rounds and be in control of the fight. It's like I'm literally trying to separate you from consciousness or get you to tap or concede or sit down on your stool and not get up. Like whatever I can do to like doctor stoppage. I'm trying to get somebody in here to say, even though you want to, you cannot continue. Like either which way it goes, I'm trying to get a finish, right? But yeah, do I think I go with a win? So the cool thing about this sport, what I love about this sport is it's like it's not like boxing. It's not like direct like people aren't so obsessed with records here, right? But what MMA fans do love is good performances. Your stock can go up in a loss as long as you go out there and you literally fight your heart out and you leave everything out there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm more concerned with, the performances and going after the finish, because in those moments, those are where the special moments are created. So let's say I didn't get a finish, right? But I went after this man every second of every round, and he replies and and he's coming back at me. It's just a great fight, and sometimes that's just how it is. And I think you still get a call up in those types of performances. But one thing is for sure, like I'm gonna force him to fight, and I'm gonna go after the finish. And so, like where I've seen his other fights where he's just in control and he's just been in the driver's seat or he's just that's not that's not how this is going.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, earlier you mentioned that you idolize yourself being in the UFC and that opportunity might be very soon. So, what would your ideal scenario be with your UFC debut?
Scenario, what do you mean? More like an opponent or
Yeah, like
where?
when, where, who'd you want to fight?
You
Just
know what? I've never so that is a great question. And after July 20th, I will have so much more of a vivid answer because I do believe in like whatever you want, however you're trying to like manifest it or think about it, I do think you should think about it all in detail, right? And even if it's different than what you imagined, at least you put that much like energy and focus out there. But I've actually never really thought about, I would like to debut in this city against this person or at this time of the year. Like I've never thought about those type of things. And so I guess that's one of those things I was saying, like it's just scary because it's what I don't know. It's what I don't know. So yeah, like the simple answer to that is I really don't know, but I know enough now about myself that it's like whatever it is, I'm gonna be ready.
yeah,
Like
definitely. And are there any dream fights out there for you? Of course, you got Pantoja, Moreno at the top. Probably you're not gonna get that right away when you jump in, but anyone at the top that you look at like that's a dream fight for you?
uh um Well, shout out Pantoja. That's my teammate.
Yeah,
He
very
just
true. Yeah.
won the world title. Is so amazing because
Yeah.
like a lot of these guys, like I was just talking to some of them in there today, and they've been around each other for so long. So, they've seen guys like from the beginning to now and retirement and just all these like epic and crazy like journeys and stories and stuff that some of these guys have been through just like or been around just being in the gym. And I've only been here, like I've visited twice before, but this is my first time coming and like deciding to stay. And I've been here now for like a month and some change. And yeah, just even in the month and change of like getting to train with him like consistently, and he's showing up to like every class, and morning, afternoon, and he's in the same classes as you, or you're getting round with them. And he's just, man, so humble, like so humble, even in the camp where he's preparing for the biggest fight of his life, and he's more known and he's all in the media, but he's showing up to all these regular classes, and he's and sessions, and he's given people like me and just anybody in the gym, he's still with us. And that was very inspiring. It was very inspiring to see. It's like at whatever level you can learn something from anybody and still just be grounded. um as far as the dream fight goes, I'm trying to think. Do I have a dream fight? Do you mean more so like as like a high profile name everybody would know? Like, yeah, I've always wanted to.
I mean,
I
it doesn't
saw
need
him.
to be high
You know what?
profile.
Mm, it doesn't have to be a high profile. You know what?
Yeah.
I've actually somebody that I'm interested in fighting when I get to that level, and when I get to that place, is Brandon Moreno, and I like Moreno actually. But I it's one of those things, like sometimes when you like somebody's style, you kind of wonder like, what does it
Yeah.
look like in mine? Like like thinking about it as a fan and knowing what we both do and bring to the table, like that seems like a fun fight. I'm trying to think of somebody like more. No, I don't have dream fights really, but I have thought like, oh, I think a fight with Moreno would be fun.
Definitely would be. And my final question for you is, I know you mentioned earlier that you and your opponent are both have like the same amount of experience, but he's a lot older. You are only 26. You're young in the sport. Do you feel like you're at the right spot currently where you are in the MMA landscape?
I don't know. I don't think there's a right or wrong spot. I think uh if you're winning, you're definitely doing good. And I think everybody's journey is different. I think it all just like depends on it depends on so many little like intangible things, like how marketable you are. Do you say the right things on the mic? I mean, like down to your look, down to like there's some things you just can't even control. Some people call it like the it factor. Like, do you just have it? I don't even half the time. Sometimes I get off of the mic or these interviews, and people like, oh man, I like when you said that, or blah blah blah. Like, and I'm like, dang, well, thank you. Like, I was just talking. I didn't even know that was gonna be something, So, I am just having fun. I'm just enjoying everything like day by day, and everything is just so new to me. Like everything's so new to me. Everybody I'm getting to meet, these interviews I'm getting to do and being asked to do, it's all just like, wow. So it's time for that. Like, oh, I'm at this point, and I'm not really thinking about like, does this mean does this mean that I am gonna be a star or da da da? It's like I'm along for the ride too. I'm just as like excited and surprised and everything as everybody else, because you gotta think like most of the time all we're not what our focus is on all day is like throwing punch, kicks, knees, chokes, elbows, blah blah, blah at each other. Like all this other stuff is like extra, extra. even when we do it out there in front of you guys, it's like it's a regular, like it's your Thursday, like on July 20th, it'll be somebody's Thursday night evening event, and to me it'll just be a Thursday where I gotta go do something that I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just in front of a crowd. So I like it. I love it all.
That's great, man. And before we go out, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to shout out or plug before you get
Hey,
out of
can
here?
you hear me?
Yeah, you're all good. Anything you want to shout out or plug before you get out of here?
Yeah, man. Shout out to American Top Team. Shout out to ATT Team Lima, and just all my training partners, coaches, family, friends, just the people that have believed in me and been supporting me, and just keeping me on this path since before these interviews and before just the little bit of like limelight I'm getting now, and before this big opportunity. It's just been like a whole journey, and I've lost a lot of people on the way. I've been down bad, but this has been the most, like, this has been the constant in my life. This fight game, this career has been so. And my rock bottoms, I just have new rock bottoms now, and it's all um just shout out to them, and just thank you to them. And without them, I don't know how I would have been able to like keep doing this in certain moments. So yeah, like they make it all possible. You guys watching this interview and cheering me on, y'all make it all possible. So thank you.
Definitely, man. Thank you for coming on, and I wish you the best of luck in your next fight. Folks, that'll be all for today. Until next time. Peace.